to part 2 on a series on meditation. If you would please put your palms together for a meditation reading. Listen and silent are spelled with the same letters. Think about it. Anonymous. If you would please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Last week we talked about meditation and how the Buddha sat underneath the Bodhi tree and he thought about himself, about where temptations come into our lives, blind passions, otherwise known as, our greed, anger, and passion. Well, there's another part of Jodo Shinshu that is a meditation for us, and that's through our chanting. Chanting is a discipline, and it's also puts us into a meditative state. When I'm chanting on the altar, I kind of zone out. And I go within myself and I kind of forget there are other people out there. But then I had to pull myself back so I can listen to others to make sure we're on the same beat, the same line. But sometimes, I'll tell you, I'm sitting up there and I'll forget where I am. So it is a meditation. And I'm not thinking about the chanting, and I'm not thinking about the teachings that are coming out of it. I'm thinking about the next step after my chanting. What am I going to talk about? It's Dharma, it's for Dharma message. I know I'm not supposed to be doing that, but I do. But it is a very calm time for me. And I have to admit, I don't like all the chants, because some of them are kind of put you to sleep. And yet there are some that are just enchanting to me. But what is chanting? Chanting is actually the teachings of the Buddha. Back 2,500 years ago, writing for many people, for many of the Sangha members, was impossible. So what did they do? They chanted the words. And what happened was people started memorizing by the sound. They could meditate on the sound of the words. And the teachings were passed down from generation to generation that way. Now we're fortunate because we have it written in our service book. And we have translations for the words, for the chants. But when we're sitting there, we're not going to be chanting and trying to read the English translation at the same time. That's kind of difficult to do. But chanting is our lessons that the Buddha provided us. So can you imagine 2,500 years ago to now, we are still chanting the words of the Buddha. We are still going into that meditative state of I don't know if it's attaining enlightenment, but it's finding ourselves. Thinking beyond just the surface, but what's truly inside of us. What is my true self? Chanting brings a Sangha together. Sangha is just a community of fellow Nembutsu followers. But chanting brings us all together. We're on the same page. We're all either reading or chanting the same words. And it's the Dharma that we are chanting. So the Sangha is chanting the Dharma. And the Dharma was provided to us by the Buddha. Sangha, Dharma, Buddha. And that's what brings us together. That's our meditation. Knowing that we're all on the, quote, same page, unquote, and we're still chanting the same words. So when we're chanting, we are chanting what the Buddha taught us. Amazing. I just think that's just so amazing. 2,500 years ago, and we're still chanting the same words as the Buddha. And no matter what language the chanting is in, it's still the same. It's the words of the Buddha. And depending on who's doing a translation, words may change a little bit, but basically it's the same message. It's the same lessons. So we can chant just by ourselves, or we can chant as a Sangha. But whatever chant we do, it's always the words of the Buddha. And we sit, and we can just sit and listen and hear how all these different voices, low, high, whatever, becomes one voice. And that voice of the Buddha, giving us direction and guidance. I went to a conference once, and there must have been over 500 people. And it's just amazing how 500 voices all came together, and when you sat back and you closed your eyes and you truly listened, it was one voice. One voice. I was amazed. I was just sitting there going, wow, this is great. And you know, and the nice thing about it, I knew my voice was in there too. Softly, maybe loud, who knows? But it was all one voice. And it filled the room. And then it came to Namo Amida Butsu. And it really filled the room. You know, kind of made me proud to be Jodo Shinshu. It was just the chanting alone that brought out beautiful, beautiful sound to my ears. And I sat there, and I put my palms together afterwards, and I was so grateful for being able to hear a chant where there were 500 voices that came together as one. So when we're chanting, don't be afraid. We all make mistakes. We chant. And we just remember, we are chanting the words of the Buddha. And we're trying to find a little peace and calm into our true selves. And also chanting helps us to think. Think of who we are and where we are going. So if you would please put your palms together in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.